Right. The other day, somebody asked me about whether or not it's worth it to scale and like staying a one man kind of freelance developer or going in and scaling and whatever. And there's no right answer about which one you should do, but there are pros and cons. For context, I've been building a development agency over the past 3 years now, running that by myself. Well, not by myself. I have a team, but like I'm the solo founder. And before that, I had done a little bit of freelance work as well. And so I've stepped a little bit in both sides, and I've hired freelancers, I've hired agencies, and so I think I have a pretty good, at least some reflections to share for people who are curious about making that decision. The main thing is it comes down to just like what do you like to do, because at the end of the day, if you're going to work on scaling something, you are going to have to move into business and management, and that will take you away a lot from the technical side of things. And so if what you enjoy is the really technical challenge, then you should probably stick to the one-man thing. And the other, I think, a question a lot of people have is like, oh, what's the kind of money I can make? And the kind of money you can make is obviously like, if you scale something, right, the ceiling on your potential income is way higher. So there's no like lying about that fact. You can make way more if you scale something, but you can also make a lot of money by being an excellent contractor. Some of the best paid contractors in the world will make, in the order of hundreds an hour. And if you are truly like the best in the world at what you do, whatever that technology is, you can get paid a lot of money for that. I'm talking several hundreds of thousands a year. And so, if your ambition is to make 50 million a year or 10 million a year, you'll probably need to build some kind of company, or go into some kind of business function. You can get that. But a million a year is more than enough for almost everybody, and that is I would say achievable with just technical work. You'd probably, maybe to get to a million is going to be a while, but to get something in the hundreds of thousands is definitely doable. As a contractor or an employee, I would say, like, there are employees that can get paid in those kinds of numbers, and you can stick to basically the technical stuff. So it really comes down to like what is the stuff that you enjoy. The other thing that I think most people don't realize is they just ask this question: oh, how much can I make? And oh, I have to do more business, but I can make like way more, so I'm just going to go and do the agency and build that. The agency also comes with a lot more stress in your life, much less peace, a lot more responsibility, and it's just a totally different game overall. Like, you will move into basically being responsible not just for feeding your own self and if potentially your own family, but also you have to be in charge of feeding other people's families, right? Because you have employees and you have to make business come in. If business doesn't come in, guess who's paying those salaries out of their pocket? It's going to be you. And it's a lot more stressful because you got to figure everything out by yourself. And sure, you can make a lot more money, but that takes a lot more time as well. So, in the first little while that you run the agency, for most people, it depends on your background, depends on the connections you have, but you may well start earning a lot less than what you would otherwise earn at a job. And so that is what you basically sacrifice, is like you will take on risk, a lot of risk, and you will have to invest in a lot of time in figuring a lot of things out. It's not as easy as it seems, because you have to figure out how to find clients first. Okay, how do I find clients? How do I sell them? Okay, like, how do I make sales? Then you have to figure out how to manage clients, manage a relationship with them, and basically like manage stakeholders. And then you also have to think about managing employees, managing team, managing hires, finding them. You have to find hires. You undertake a whole suite of responsibilities, essentially. And most people neglect to think that comes with a business. So, I would say remaining a one-man consultant or an employee, whichever one, can work extremely well. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to work under someone else. I don't want somebody to tell me when I work. That's fine. You can be a one-man consultant, right? So a consultant is effectively a glorified freelancer, right? It's basically somebody who works independently on contracts, and you can still get paid very, very well. But in being a consultant, a contractor, you have a lot more freedom over which jobs you take, what hours you work, where you are, things like that. You get to decide those things. It is, you basically, you get that freedom, but you pay with risk. So if your client fires you, then you have to go and find another client, and like you are more flexible, right? You're gonna go before an employee of theirs go, right? So you'll be first at the top of the list to like get fired most of the time. Depends on the situation, but as a general thing, your income is gonna be less stable than that of an employee. So employee has the highest stability, but maybe the lowest. Like you can still be an employee and have a large degree of control over your life. For example, my team, they work whatever hours they want. They work from wherever they want, and no problems there. And so and then their income is like obviously completely stable. If you want to be a consultant, you have a lot of control over your conditions, but maybe you have basically a slightly less stable income. And then if you move into the complete business and like you hire other people and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot more work and a lot more risk. And overall, like it's a lot of headache. It's a lot of headache for a long time before things start to pay off. And if you are not somebody who fares well with responsibility and stress, like, man, it's not worth it. It's really, really not, because it is so much responsibility and so much stress. There's like the marginal, let's say from 1 million you move to 2 million. It's like the marginal effect that has on your lifestyle is very, very low. Like if you earn 500,000-600,000 a year, man, you can already do pretty much anything. Like you're extremely wealthy already. And so is it worth loads of extra stress and extra hardship and years of eating shit? Is it worth all of that just to make a little bit extra, right? I don't think that's necessarily the case for everybody. A lot of people glorify this thing of like, oh, I want to build a business and I don't want to work for other people. It's like, well, listen, you can do a one-man consultancy thing and still do very, very, very well for yourself. And you don't, is it worth all the stress? Like, and you might be wondering, okay, then why do I do it? For me, I do have an appetite for stress. I have an appetite for responsibility. I like the idea of building a team, of building like the business side of things. I discovered that I really like it. And so I'm okay and I'm happy to let go of the technical side of things. At this point in time, I still do get in the code sometimes, but a lot less than I did 2 years ago, right? A lot less. And it will continue to be less and less. And I'm okay with that because I've found that I like business. I like the people thing. I like the games because there's a bit of numbers, there's a bit of people. So I enjoy the mix, but I also fare quite well with responsibility in general. Like it's something that I like stress in my life, some degree of it, and responsibility. It is something that I have a natural appetite for. And if you don't have that, I don't think that's necessarily worth it for everybody. And I think I don't know, I wanted to give a pretty even-handed kind of review of options and reflections from somebody who maybe has some perspective on that. For those who are considering that, right? I've seen a lot of people who are like wondering and they want to follow and try and make an agency, and yeah, I can help you out. Like my content is around that kind of stuff, but I don't think that's necessarily for everybody. Yeah, those are just my thoughts and my reflections on that.